Another guy this guy's been a bust, and I was on board with him. We're talking Damien Pierce here in the beginning of the year, has an ankle injury now, and they talked a lot, man. Preseason, I'm thinking back, like they talked about how he might be in this 3-down role now. That kind of never, crystallized, but I think he's probably a low-end flex play the rest of the year. I know he missed last week, but I actually haven't really even seen updates for him. Tom, what can you tell us about Pierce?
It's an ankle injury that kept him out last week. Did not practice today on Wednesday, so it's not a great start to the week, but he still has 2 days to get some work in. These type of injuries are going to be more impactful for the backs that are change of direction agility guys. He's more of a downhill runner, so that does work in his favor, that this type of injury is not going to impact his running style quite as much. On average, we see running backs see a dip of about 11% fantasy production in their first game back. Not huge, but again, like you mentioned, Damien Pierce has not been productive this year.
No.
So that coupled with the injury, I don't like starting him this week if I can avoid it. I would definitely advise against starting him if he plays.
Super borderline start to me, and I think it's going to be more of the same of last week. I'm not going to predict a CJ Stroud performance like he had last week, but they play the Bengals. They're pretty heavy underdogs, even with all those Bengals injuries. So I think it's going to be throw for the Texans. And Tom, you said you have CJ Stroud in one of your leagues. Again, he beat my ass. I think he put up almost 40 freaking points, man. 5 touchdowns, 0 picks, and 470 yards, man. What an insane performance. Tom, you tell me that Christian Watson is not hurt, correct? We don't have to really worry about him. We think he's a full go.
He was listed after the game with a chest and back injury, but he was a full participant in practice today, and Green Bay does not have him listed on their injury report.
Fair enough. I have him listed on my bench because I just don't think he's having a very good season at 5.5 points per game. Christian Watson, I know he's dealt with a lot, but wide receiver 86 on the season. I know he's been out for some games, but even so, man, it's tough. Although I have seen some analysts calling for a spike week here from Watson, but I will have him on my bench, and if it happens, it happens, but I'm not dealing with him again. Joshua Palmer, another player, man, knee, IR. Wasn't there another injury he had? Because like a couple of weeks ago, he played through something. Was it something different?
No, same thing.
It was the same injury. Okay, and he played through it. I guess I'll let you talk about it, but he aggravated it. Like what's the deal with that?
That's how it sounds. It was a knee injury that he went into week 8 with, and then last week he was questionable all week until finally they put him on the IR. So he'll be out 4 weeks, including last week. I believe that would include last week. So he should be back for fantasy playoffs. This is a guy that's not going to win your league, but he can be a nice role player on your team.
I'm with you. He comes back week 14. You probably wouldn't want to thrust him right into your lineup. But again, if he comes back week 14, looks good. Like he's a guy you put as your wide receiver 3 or your flex. Like definitely keep him on your roster. And I asked you this a couple of weeks ago, and I think you said hold on to him and be patient. And I said the same thing. How about Quentin Johnston now? Are you still holding on? Because he's a guy that I probably had in my 7-8 leagues. I probably had him in 3 or 4 leagues. I was like, yo, I was begging preseason, Tom. I was like, yo, if Mike Williams or Keenan Allen goes down, we have a stud here. And now we have Josh Palmer down and Mike Williams down. And I don't even know if he's rosterable. Like, what the hell am I doing here? I don't know. I just don't know.
It's getting harder and harder to believe in him.
It is.
I don't know. In redraft, no, I don't think you need to roster him. In Dynasty, obviously, you're going to keep him. But, yeah, I think if you need the space in redraft, drop him.
I don't know what to do. I mean, diving into his statistics has Quentin Johnston 20 receiving yards or less in 7 of his 8 games. He's on pace for 272 yards, which, oh my God, Tyreek Hill gets on 1 play somehow. That math doesn't add up, but 272, 0.76 yards per route run. That's his PFF, score or yards per route run, which, by the way, is 94th of 101 qualifying wide receivers for this year. And that also is 15 out of 15 for qualifying rookie wide receivers. And beyond that, I looked at the tape. He's not getting separation at all. He's not getting open. They look his way. He might not be getting the targets. They look at him. They have a couple first look or first reads for him, or even second in the progression. He's just not open. So I don't know what to do with him. The answer there is just Keenan Allen, and that's it. It's just Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and good night. And Jalen Guyton is going to score a 74-yard touchdown this week, and we're all going to be like, okay, great. That doesn't help anybody.